Yeah, that's a goblin, said Hagrid quietly as he walked up the white stone steps toward him. The goblin was about a head shorter than Harry. He had a swarthy, clever face, a pointed beard, and Harry noticed a long finger and feet. He bowed as they walked inside. Now they were facing a second pair of doors, silver this time, the word engraved upon them. Enter stranger, but take heed of what awaits the sin of greed. For those who take but not to earn must pay their deadly in their turn. So if you seek beneath our floors a treasure that never yours, fifth, you have been warned, beware of finding more than a treasure there. Like I said, you'll be mad to try to rob it, said Hagrid. A pair of goblins bowed them through a silver door, and they were in a vast marble hall. About 100 more goblins were sitting on high stools behind a long counter, scribbling in large edges, weighing coins on base scales, examining precious stones through eyeglasses. There was too many doors to count reading of the hall, and yet more goblins were showing people in and out of doors. Hagrid and Harry made for the counter. Morning, said Hagrid to a freed goblin. You come to take some money out of Mr. Harry Potter's safe. You have his key, sir? I got it here somewhere, said Hagrid. He started emptying the pockets onto the counter, scratching off hands on moody dog biscuits over a goblin's book of numbers. The goblin winked its nose. Harry watched the goblin on their right weighting a pile of rubies as big as glowing gulls. Got it, said Howard at last, holding up a tiny golden key. The goblin took it closely and looked at it. That seems to be an order. And I got a letter here from Professor Dumbledore, said Hagrid importantly, drawing out his chest. It's about you know what in ball 706 in 730. The goblin read the letter carefully. Very well, he said, handing it back to Hagrid. I will have someone to take you down the both bolts. Griphook. Griphook was yet another goblin. Once Harry had claimed all the dog biscuits back inside his pockets, he and Harry followed Griphook toward one of the doors leading off the hall. What's the you know what in ball 713? Harry asked. Can't tell you that, said Hagrid mysteriously. Very secret, Hogwarts business. Dumbledore's trusting me. More my job was to tell you that. Griffin held the door open for them. Harry, who had expected more marbles, was surprised they were in a little stone passageway lit with flaming torches. It slowed slightly downward, and there were more railway track on the floor. Griffith whistled, and small cart came halting up the tracks toward them. They clambered in, Hagrid with some difficulty, and were off. At first, they just halted through a maze of twisting passage. Harry tried to remember left, right, left, middle, fork, right, left, but it was impossible. The rattling cart seemed to know its own way because Griphook was steering. Harry's eyes stunned as the cold air rushed past them, but he kept them wide open. Once he saw a burst of flame at the end of the passage and twisted around to see if it was a dragon, but too late. They plunged even deeper, passing an underground lake where huge canister and stalagmites grew from a ceiling and floor. I never knew, Harry called to Hagrid over the noise of the cart. What is the difference between a stalagmite and stalactite? Stalactite had got an minute, said Hagrid. And don't ask me questions just now. I think I'm gonna be sick. He did look very green, and when the car stopped at last, beside a small door in a passage wall, Hagrid got out and had to lean against the wall to stop his knees tremble. Griphook unlocked the door, and lot of green smoke came billowing out, and as it cleaned, Harry gasped. Inside was a mound of gold coins, gobble of silver, heap of little bronze nuts. All yours, smiled Hagrid. All Harry's. It was incredible. The Dursleys couldn't have known about this, or they have had it from him faster than blinking. How often had they complained at how much Harry cost them to keep? And all the time they had been a little fortune belonging to him, buried deep under London. Hagrid helped Harry pile some of it into a bag. The gold ones is scallions, he explained. 17 sickles is a galleon, and 29 connects to be a sickle. It's easy enough, right? That should be enough for a couple of terms. We'll keep the last safe for you. It turned to Griffith for 713 now. Please, and can we go more slowly? One speed only, said Griffith. They were going even deeper now and gaining speed. The air became colder and colder, and they hunted round tight corners. They went rattling over an underground vein, and Harry leaned over the side to try and see what was down at the dark bottom, but Hagrid and pulled him back by the scruff of his neck. Port 713 had no keyhole. Stand back, said Gripple importantly. He struck the door gently with one of his long fingers and simply melted away. If anyone but the Gringotts Goblin tried that, they'll be sucked through the door and trapped in there, said Gripple. How often do you check to see if anyone's in there? Harry asked. About once every 10 years, said Gripple, with a rather lusty grin. Everything really extraordinary had to be inside that top security bolt. Harry was sure, and he leaned forward eagerly, expecting to see fabulous jewels at the very least. But at first he thought it was empty. But he noticed a grubby little package wrapped up in brown paper lying on the floor. Hagrid picked it up and tucked it deep inside his coat. Harry longed to know what it was, but no better than to ask. Come on, back in this infernal cart, and don't talk to me on the way back. It's best if I keep my mouth shut, said Hagrid. While the cart arrived later, they stood blinking in the sunlight outside Gringotts. Harry didn't know where to learn first now that he got a bag full of money. He didn't know how many galleons there to be pond, to know that he was holding more money than he had in his whole life, more money than even Dudley's had never had. Might as well get your uniform, said Hagrid, nodding toward Madame Malkin's love for all occasions. Listen, Harry, would you mind if I slipped off or pick me up in the leaking cauldron? I hate the Gringotts Scots. He does still look a bit sick. So Harry entered Madame Malkin's shop alone, feeling nervous. Madame Malkin's Madame Markins was a snot, smiling witch dressed all in mauve. Hogwarts, dear, she had said. Then, when Harry started to speak, got the lot here, but the young man being fitted up just now, in fact. In the back of the shop, a boy with a pale, pointed face was standing on a footstool while a second witch painted up his long black bows. Madame Malkin stood Harry on a stool next to him, slipped a long lobe over his head, and began to pin it to a right note. "Hello," said the boy. "Hogwarts too?" "Yes," said Harry. "My father's next door buying my books, and mother's up the street looking at ones," said the boy. He had a bold, drawling voice. "Now I'm going to take them off to look at racing brooms. I don't know why Fizzies can't have their own one. I think I'll bully my father into getting me one, and I'll smuggle in house somehow." Harry was totally reminded of Dudley. "How you got your own broom?" said boy went on. "No," said Harry. "Play Quidditch at all?" "No," Harry had said again, wondering what on earth Quidditch could be. "I do. Father says it is a claim if I'm not picked to play to my house. And I must say I agree. Know what house we'll be in yet?" "No," said Harry, feeling more stupid by the minute. Well, no one really knew until they got there, do they? But I know I'll be in Slytherin. All my family have been. Imagine being in Hufflepuff. I think I'll leave, wouldn't you?" Said Harry, wishing he could say something a bit more interesting. "I say, look at that man," the boy suddenly nodding toward a front window. Harry was standing there, grinning at Harry and pointing to the two large ice cream to show him couldn't come in. "That's Hagrid," said Harry, pleased to know something that boy didn't. "He works at Hogwarts." "Oh," said the boy. "I heard of him. He's sort of servant, isn't he?" "He's a gamekeeper," said Harry. He was liking the boy less and less every second. "Yeah, exactly. I heard he's a sort of savage, living in a hut in the school ground, and every now and then he got drunk, tried to do magic, and ended up setting fire to his bed." "I think he's brilliant," said Harry cordially. "Do you?" said the boy, with a sort of sneer. "Why is he with you? Where's your parents?" "They're dead," said Harry shortly. He didn't feel much like going into the matter with this boy. "Oh, sorry," said the other, not sounding sorry at all. "But they're our kind, wasn't they? They were witch and wizard, if that's what you mean." "I really don't think they should let the other sort in, do you? They're just not the same. They've never been brought up to know our ways. Some of them had never even heard of Hogwarts until they got the letter. Imagine. I think they should keep it in an old wizarding family." "What's your surname, anyway?" But before Harry could answer, Madame Malkin said, "That's it done, my dear." And Harry, not sorry for an excuse to stop talking to the boy, hopped down from the footstool. "Well, I see you at Hogwarts, I suppose," said the drawing boy. Harry was rather quiet as he ate the ice cream. Harry was brought to him. Chocolate and raspberry with chopped nuts. "What's up?" said Hagrid. "Nothing," Harry lied. They stopped to buy parchment and quills. Harry chilled up a bit when he found a bottle of ink that changed color as you liked. When they had left the shop, he said, "Hagrid, what's Quidditch?" "Blimey, Harry, I keep forgetting how little you know." "Not knowing about Quidditch. Don't make me feel worse," said Harry. He told Hagrid about a pale boy in Madame Malkin's, and he said people like Muggle family shouldn't even be allowed in. "You're not from a Muggle family. If you know who you are, you go on knowing your name if his parents was visiting folks. You saw them in Nicky Cauldron anyway. Then know him know about it. Some of the best I ever seen were the only ones with magic in them, as a long line of mothers. Look at your mother. Look what she got for our sister. So what's a Quidditch?" "It's our sports, winter sports. It's like a football in a mother's world. Everyone follows Quidditch. Playing up in the air on a broomstick, and there's four balls, so hard to explain the rules. And what's the Slytherin and Hufflepuff? Schoolhouses. There are four. Everyone said Hufflepuff isn't none of them, but I bet I'm in Hufflepuff," said Harry gloomily. "Better Hufflepuff than Slytherin," said Hagrid darkly. "There's not a single witch and wizard who went bad who wasn't in Slytherin. You know who was one." "Oh, sorry. You know who was at Hogwarts?" "Years and years ago," said Hagrid. They brought Harry's school books in a shelf called Frozen Blocks, shelves are chapped to the ceiling, with books as large as paving stones bound in letters. Books the size of a postage stamp in a cover of silk. Books full of purple symbols, and few books about nothing in them at all. Even Dudley, who never read anything, would have been wild to get his hand on some of these. Hagrid almost had drawn Harry from curses and counter-curses, bewitch your friends, and duffel your enemies with a greatest revenge, harassing, jelly legs, tongue-tying, and much, much more by Professor Bintiger Reedran. "I was trying to find out how to curse deadly. I'm not saying that's not a good idea, but you're not to use magic in Muggle world except in your special occasions," said Hagrid. "And anyway, you couldn't work any of those curses yet. You need a lot more study before you got to that level." Hagrid wouldn't let Harry buy a solid gold quadrant. Neither. "It says powder on your list." But they got a nice sort of scarce and waiting potions, namely a Colorable base telescope. Then they visited an archery, which was fantastic enough to make up for a horrible smell, a mixture of bad eggs and rotted cabbages. Bowl of swimming stuff stood on the floor. Jars of hunt-dyed roots was brought powder in the wall. Double of feathers, drilling of fangs, and stairs claws hang from the ceiling. While Hagrid asked the man behind the counter for a supply of a base potion garment for Harry, Harry himself examining silver unicorn horn at 21 galleon, Even the miracles. Golden black Beetle's eyes, 5 cannons a scoop. Outside the archly, Hagrid checked Harry's list again. Just your one nap. Oh yeah, I still hadn't got your birthday presents. Harry felt himself go red. You don't have to. I know I don't have to. Tell you what, I got you an animal. Not a toad. Toads are out of fashion years ago. You'd be laughed at. And I don't like cats. They make me sneeze. I got you an owl. All kids want owl. They are that useful. Carry your post and everything. 20 minutes later, they left out of our emporium, which had been dark and full of rasping and flicking Jules' bright eyes. Harry now carried a large cage with whole beautiful snowy owl, fast asleep with her head under her wing. He couldn't stop stammeling his thanks, sounding just like Professor Quirrell. Don't don't mention that, said Hagrid gruffly. Don't expect you had a lot of birthday present from the Dursleys. Just Ollivander left now. Only place for once. Ollivanders. And you're gonna have a best wand. A magic wand. This was what Harry had been really looking forward to. The last shop was narrow and stubby. Filling gold letters over the door read Ollivanders makes a fine one since 382 BC. A single wand lay on a faded pulpit castle in the dusty window. A creaking bell rang somewhere in the depth of the shop. As they stepped inside, it was a tiny place, empty except for a single spindle chair. With Hagrid sat on to wait, Harry felt strongly as though he had entered a very sturdy library. He swallowed a lot of new questions which had just occurred to him and looked instead at the thousands of narrow boxes filled neatly lined up on the ceiling. For some reasons, the back of his neck prickled. The very dust was silent, and here he seems to tingle with some secret magic. Good afternoon, said a soft voice. Harry jumped. Hagrid must have jumped too, because there was a loud crunching noise, and he got quickly off the spindle chair. An old man was standing before them, his wide pale eyes shining like moons through a gloom of the shop. Hello, said Harry awkwardly. Yes, said the man. Yes. I told you I'm going to see you soon, Harry Potter. I wouldn't. It wasn't a question. You have your mother's eye. It seems only yesterday she had got a one herself. Buying her first one, 10¼ inches long. Surabi made a really nice one for Charmok. Mr. Ollivander moved closer to Harry. Harry wished he would blink. Those silvery eyes were a bit creepy. Your father, on the other hand, preferred a menschly wand. 11 inches, probably a little more power and excellence for transfiguration. Well, I say your father's favorite. It's for really the one that chooses the wizards, of course. Mr. Ollivander had come to a close that he and Harry were almost nose to nose. Harry could see himself reflecting in those misty eyes. And that is here where Mr. Ollivander touched a lightning scar on Harry's forehead with a long white finger. I'm sorry to say I saw the wand that I did, he said softly. 30.5 inches. Yeah, powerful one. Very powerful. And in the long hands. Well, if I'd known that wand was going out into the world to do. He shook his head, and then, to Harry's relief, spotted Hagrid. Lubius Hagrid. How nice to see you again. Oak, 16 inches, rather bandy, wasn't it? It was, yes, sir, said Hagrid. Good one, that one, but I suppose they chop it into half when you get expelled, said Mr. Ollivander, suddenly stern. Yes, they did, yes, said Hagrid, starting his feet. I still got pieces, though, he added brightly. But you don't use them, said Ollivander sharply. Oh, no, sir, said Hagrid quickly. Harry noticed he grabbed with his pink umbrella very tightly as he spoke. Said Mr. Ollivander, giving Hagrid a piercing look. Well now, Mr. Potter, let me see. He pulled a long, tight mixture with 7 marking out of his pockets. Which is your one hand? Well, I'm right-handed, said Harry. Hold out your arm. That's it. He muddled Harry from shoulder to finger, then laid elbow, shoulder to floor, knees to armpit, and round his head. As he measured, he said, every old bender's wand has the core of a powerful magical substance, Mr. Parr. We use unicorn hair, phoenix tail feather, and the heartstring of dragon. No two old bender's wands were the same, just as no two unicorns, dragon, or phoenixes had quite the same. And of course, you will never get much good result with other wizards' wands. Harry suddenly realized that his type measures, which was measuring between his nostrils, was doing it on itself. Mr. Ollivander was flicking around the shovels, taking down boxes. That will do, he said, and type measure crumbled into a hole to the floor. Right then, Mr. Potter, try this one. With wood and dragon heartstring. 9 inches, 9 and fake ball. Just take it and give it away. Harry took the wand and, feeling foolish, waved it around a bit. But Ollivander snatched it out of his hand almost at once. Maple and phoenix feather. 7 inches. Quite lucky. Try. Harry tried, but he had hardly raised the wand when it too had snatched back by Mr. Ollivander. No, no. Here, Avia and unicorn hair. 9.5 inches. Certainly. Go on, go on. Try it out. Harry tried and tried. He had no idea what Mr. Ollivander was waiting for. The pile was tried once was mounting higher and higher on the spindle chair, but the more ones Mr. Ollivander pulled from the shovels, the happier he seems to become. Tricky customer, eh? But not to worry. We'll find the perfect match here somewhere. I wonder now. Yes, why not? Usual competition, wholly unfinished feather. 11 inches, nice and savvy. He took the wand. He felt a sudden warmth in his finger. He raised the wand above his head, body swishing down through the dusty air. On the string of the red and gold sparks shot from the end of the firework, and like a firework, throwing dancing spots of lights onto the wall. Harry whooped and clapped, and Mr. Ollivander cried, "Oh, bravo! Yes, indeed. Oh, very good. Well, well, well. How curious! How very curious!" "Sorry," said Harry, "but what's curious?" Mr. Ollivander fixed Harry with his pale stare. "I remember every one that I have ever sold, Mr. Potter. Every single one. It so happens that the phoenix who failed after it on your wand gave another feather, just one other. It is very curious indeed that you should be destined for this one, but its brother, why, its brother gave you that scar." Harry swallowed. "Yes, 13.5 inches. You're curious indeed how those things happen. The one chooses the wizard. Remember, I think we must expect great things from you, Mr. Potter. After all, he who must not be named did great things. Terrible, but great." Harry shivered. He wasn't sure he liked Mr. Ollivander too much. Harry paid 7 gold galleons for his wand, and Mr. Ollivander bowed from his shop. The late afternoon sun hung low in the sky as Harry and Hagrid made their way back down Diagon Alley, back through the wall, back through the leaky cauldron, now empty. Harry didn't spoke at all as they walked down the road. He didn't even notice how much people were gawping at them on the underground. Weren't he? As they were with their funny shaped packages, with a sleeping snowy owl on Harry's lap. One hour was later, out into Paddington Station. Harry only realized where they were when Hagrid tapped him on the shoulder. "Got time for a bit of to eat before you got a train leave?" he said. He bought Harry a hamburger, and they sat down on plastic seats and ate them. Harry kept looking around. Nothing looked so strange somehow. "You're all right, Harry. You are very quiet," said Hagrid. Harry wasn't sure he could explain. He'd just had a best birthday of his life, and yet he chose his hamburger trying to find the word. "Everyone thinks I'm special," he said at last. "All those people in the leaky cauldron. Professor Quill, Mr. Ollivander. But I don't know anything about magic at all. Now, can they how can they expect great things?" I'm famous, and I don't even remember what I am famous for. I don't know what's happened when sorry. I mean the night my parents died. Hagrid leaned across the table. Behind the wild beard, an eyebrow, he wore a very kind smile. Don't you worry, Harry. We'll learn fast enough. Everyone starts at the beginning at Hogwarts. They be will be just fine. Just be yourself. I know it's hard. You have been singled out, and that's always hard. But you'll have a great time at Hogwarts. I did. Still do, matter of fact. Hagrid helped Harry onto the train that would take him back to the Dursleys. Then handed him an envelope. Your tickets for Hogwarts, he said. 1st of September, King's Cross. It's all in your tickets. Any problems with Dudley, send me a letter with your owl. She'll know where to find me. See you soon, Harry. The train pulled out of the station. Harry wanted to watch Hagrid until he was out of sight. He rose to his seat and pressed his nose against the window. But he blinked at, and Hagrid had gone.